And welcome to Ask the Experts here on Newstalk 1290 CJBK on this Saturday afternoon, joined every other Saturday at this time by my friend Joan Ball from Royal LePage Triland Realty. You can reach Joan at any time, 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address, and we say hello to Joan. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, Ryan. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you. Very good indeed. We had some nice warmer temperatures earlier this past week, and I am wondering, are we still in a hot market, Joan? Are things cooling a little bit? Just want to get your thoughts on the current state right now, right off the top of the program.
Well, when I say that things were insane in January,
Yes.
They were still pretty crazy in February, but we did see a little bit of a slowdown, and I think that's due to weather. I think that's due to people getting out and about a little bit more, perhaps some of the uncertainty globally, I think. But that means that instead of standing in the fire, you're just on the edge of the fire.
Got
So, where you might have 35 offers on something, or, in excess, you're certainly seeing, 12 to 15. And some properties actually are coming to offer date and having one or two offers. So that's really indicative of pricing, and I think people still need to recognize, don't price your listing at the top of the realm. Certainly be reasonable, be very realistic, and justify your pricing. But those individuals who overshoot the market, I think, are coming up a little short in the end.
Will expectations be very, very high for a seller right now, Joan, because they've looked at prices over the last month, 6 months, however time frame you want to put on it? But are people having pretty big expectations right now of what they expect to get for their home?
Yeah, I think that's, it's a cautionary note in that you still have to recognize the current market.
Right.
You cannot base it on what happened 6 months ago or 3 months ago. You really have to look at what's the response right now, what's going on right now. And there's no doubt about it, I'm starting to see for the first time in quite a while, almost, well over a year, that we're starting to have more listings come on the market than sales. And that will, in and of itself, adjust the market somewhat. The interest rates going up a little bit. Some people will sort of hurry up and get it done, so to speak. And, I think it's important to make sure that you read the market, look at the statistics, and really evaluate where your present property lands within the market response.
Indeed. And go one step further. If you are thinking of selling, call Joan Ball at Royal LePage Triland Realty at 519-672-9880, 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. Joan, do I recall in past years, and I'm going 2 years and beyond, you saying that spring was a big time for people to put homes on the market? And if that's correct, you can say yes or no. And do you see that this coming spring as well?
Yeah, I think that people need to realize what is spring in the real estate market. Spring is really March, April, and into May. But more listings come on the market in May, thinking that's the spring market. And frankly, in many years past, you're missing the glut of the buying population. Now, I don't see it adjusting anytime soon, but there's certainly, that's when you start seeing a lot of the signs come up, a lot of the new listings come on, and especially right after March break, I think you're going to be absolutely blown away by seeing more properties coming on the market and more selection, and therefore, hopefully, we can satisfy some of the buyers. Having said that, I still think we're going to have multiple offers on many properties, and the average for February, when you look at, it was 93% of offers went over list price, 90%. In January, it's 93%, and in February, it was by an average of 86,000. So, that's sort of still a heavy supportive market for the sellers, not so much for the buyers.
Absolutely. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290, CJBK 519-672-9880 to reach Joan, and also the website joanball.com. Do you see pools as a big attraction for buyers these days still, Joan?
We certainly saw through the pandemic that pools sort of regenerated a significant interest for buyers, partly because they were stuck at home.
Right.
They didn't have the ability to travel or do some other things. And I think that may carry through for a while. It's sort of that added bonus for some people to be able to entertain the kids at home or family members that they are able to gather with. So I think we're still going to see that for a period of time. Yeah.
What other items are sort of, I don't know that I'll say must-haves, but things that are sought after for people who are purchasing a home? Are there some items that come to mind where people are really having that at the top of their wish list?
Well, one of the big things right now, and certainly, I fall in that camp, is properties that have been updated, properties that are move-in ready. Some of the renovated properties, and not necessarily the flippers, but some of the significantly renovated or newer homes are certainly very popular. People they no longer really, for the most part, want to move in and have to do complete renovations. Maybe some painting, stripping wallpaper, that's fine. Updating carpets, that's fine. But when they have to start renovating kitchens and bathrooms and that kind of thing, that reduces the population that might have interest in that particular property.
Right. Excellent. And when it comes to colors, and two things come to mind. I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I went to somebody's house who I didn't actually know was buying something from them, and had to go into their basement. And I said to this person, they were getting their house ready for to sell, and I said, I really like the colors, and I'm not a decorator or anything like that. The colors probably weren't that nice, but I like them. And I said, I like the colors. He says, do you know who didn't like the colors? The real estate agent. And further to that was the other day I walked into the house and Wendy had a renovation show on, and I just happened to catch one of the people who were walking through a home saying, could this house be any more white? Just your thoughts on, so both of those kind of sort of contradict each other, because one was colorful, the other one was just all white. What do you say to homeowners that are thinking about it? Is it worth going through the whole home, painting it, knowing that the new owners might decide to just repaint it themselves?
So what kind of colors? Can you be a little bit more?
I would say, if I can describe in any way, like Aztec-y, like a brownish, and then a green, sort of almost reminded me of the desert, sort of. They weren't overwhelming, but maybe they just weren't for everybody.
Yeah, I think that the proof is in the pudding, in that you loved it. The majority of individuals will see it as a necessary project to paint. Okay. That's where the realtor or the stager or the designer may be coming from when they say neutralize. Now, I don't agree with plain white.
Okay.
That is not what I sort of envision as a neutral color. Certainly there are properties you walk into, it's a blank slate in that way that it's white, so you could do it. But you still have to paint that if you want to put some color on the wall. There are some very pale, sort of very pale taupes or grays, some of those that are very appealing, very neutral, and certainly have a universal appeal. And I think when you walk into model homes, that's when you get a better sense of what it really sells, because obviously they're basing their design and their presentation of the model home on the science that's been proven over the years.
Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290. CJBK from Royal LePage, Triland Realty. Joan is our real estate expert for a long, long time, and you can reach her at any time, 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. And one final question here, Joan, before we go to our first break, but I'm like a lot of people, I check out MLS just purely out of curiosity, and you can sometimes, you would know way better than I, but sometimes you think, okay, that home might be staged. I just have a question, and that is, oftentimes it looks like in the bedrooms, everything is prim and proper, looks absolutely beautiful, but just a throw blanket is sort of scattered on the bed. It's not made up nicely. Is that a thing with stagers?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay.
In some stagers, because what you're trying to do when you're presenting your property to go on the market, you're trying to create a sense of a lifestyle, and you're trying to invite those buyers to see themselves there. And if there's, for example, a throw blanket and a book and some glasses on the coffee or on the couch, comfy couch and that kind of thing, then they go, oh yeah, I could cuddle up there. And so it really is the number one way people buy properties. Yes, all the numbers have to match, and the property and the structure has to have good bones, has to have some good features and benefits. But at the end of the day, it becomes an emotional purchase for many individuals. So they want to envision themselves there and what they might be doing. And quite often, people are visual. So I was telling somebody the other day, it's amazing how many times I have sold a property and gone back to a buyer and gone back to the property after the new buyers have moved in.
Right.
And the furniture placement is in exactly the same place, whether it's logical or not, in exactly the same place as it was when the previous owner owned the house. And that is really because quite often they can't envision anything else. And, that's where we've gone in and sometimes done some design consultations after they move in their new house. And that really gives them a different sense of how they could present that property, and therefore heightens the enjoyment and pleasure while they're there.
Very interesting. Joan Ball here on Ask How the Mind Works, right? And like you say, we are very visual. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts, Royal LePage, Tri-Land Realty. You can reach Joan at 519-672-9880. JoanBall.com, the website address. Back with more after these. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290, CJBK from Royal LePage, Tri-Land Realty. You can phone Joan at 519-672-9880. Visit the website, very informative, whether you're buying or selling, joanball.com. One final question too, Joan, on your thoughts and philosophies on staging a home. Recently, I saw deer antlers in photographs at a home. It was a very nice home, too, I must say. And I remember in the past seeing a bear hide or a bear skin hanging on a wall. Do you ever, and I know your thoughts on clutter and all that sort of stuff, which makes great sense to remove a lot of the clutter in your personal items, but stuff like that may potentially have an offensive sort of effect on some people, would you tell them to remove certain items from their home?
We absolutely have. And I think in some cases, I always bring it back to years ago. I rented a cottage in Muskoka, and they had this huge moose head in a very tiny bedroom. And the kids were scared to death to go and sleep in that bedroom.
Yeah.
So I had to put adults down there, and it seemed like a waste of, the twin beds down there. Anyway, so there's some things that are there for your enjoyment while you're living in the house, and we have to transfer it over. And even as far as some individuals may not be of your particular faith or religious affiliation. And, so even that is a statement of you in the house. And what we're trying to do is have individuals feel as comfortable as possible and see themselves in the property. So it really, all of those things, knives, knife blocks on a countertop, I'll put them away.
Yeah.
Because for some people that may just not be, you want them to see the property. You don't want them to necessarily focus their attention on your stuff.
Absolutely. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290. CJBK, just talked to somebody recently that moved. They said that one of the biggest challenges, Joan, was to keep, they've got 3 young kids, all under 10. One of the biggest things was to keep their house tidy for all of the people that were coming through. Got me to thinking, I haven't asked you in a while, but you oftentimes had some good suggestions for people that they can maybe help them get through the situation of keeping their home tidy, particularly the kids' bedrooms. What do you say to clients when, they've got a busy household, but they know that they've got to keep it tidy?
Yeah, I think it's really important to start packing away some of the stuff. I do find, even with my own family, that some of the kids may have so many toys and so many activities that, it becomes so hard for the parents to put it away or pack it away. So, it's really kind of a neat process of putting some of those in some boxes or bags or whatever and store them away. And so when the kids or the house sells, you bring them out again, and some kids, I forgot I even had that. And
cool.
It's almost like Christmas again. So minimizing the house in many ways just helps the process so that it's a little bit easier when it comes down to having to get ready for an individual showing.
Got it. Would you be okay with somebody, now maybe take the pictures of the home, the exterior pictures, but once that's done and the pictures are online and need to be where they are, would you be okay with, during the selling process, having one of those C bins in the laneway?
Not while the property is on the market.
Okay.
I would say, get it full, and then they will remove it for the period of time. But you want to keep your driveways clear. You want to keep the property so it presents as it will when they move in.
Got it. Yep. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts, Royal LePage, Triland Realty. And is it a must, Joan, if the seller has a dog or a couple of dogs, should they be off the property when people go look at the home?
I do think that would be advisable.
Okay.
I always remember a story years ago where I was in a house and they had said, there's a dog there, he's very friendly, but when I got in the house and was into the interior of the house before I even realized he was there, the dog started growling at me. And I basically just sat on the chair, and my buyers were able to exit the property, call the listing agent, and have the owner come home. They had no idea that their dog would respond that way. They thought he was friendly with everybody, but you have to remember they're territorial, and he was protecting the property, and he didn't know me. So I always say that your animals, just know that they will not necessarily respond with someone they don't know as they do with you or someone you don't know while you are in the house. So having the pets removed is ideal.
Yeah, and it's leaving some responsibility to other people. If you leave them there, heaven forbid you open the door and the dog may be friendly, but what if he takes off or something like that? So do your best to get them off the property. It makes sense. Joan Ball here on Ask the Experts on Newstalk 1290 CJBK. Question from Walter. Joan. Walter wants to know if he should list now or wait for the summer market he will be renting.
So this is where it really gets down to check my website, Walter, because on there I will have the market charts, and the market charts outline the busy times of the year, and you'll get a better sense. But, our market is really primarily a January to June market. July is holiday month. August can be tremendously busy, but as kids get back to school, September, or at least the first half of September, can be very slow. And then the fall is not going to be as busy as the spring. But this past year is no representation of that necessarily, because it was busy straight through. But you did see a slowdown in July, so that's interesting. Even in a frenzied market, it did slow down when everybody was going on holidays and getting a chance to get out in the fresh air and have some time together.
Good stuff. Thanks, Walter. And Aaron has a house, Joan, and has decided to buy a condo instead. Would you recommend an apartment condo or a townhouse condo?
This is where I really have to get to know the individual a little bit more. And I usually will take them through both.
Okay.
And I get a sense of what are the things that attract them to one or the other. Some people want the space of a townhouse condo. Townhouse condos often will sell for more on average than an apartment condo. However, some of the luxury condos are just blowing my mind as far as the prices that they're receiving. So I think that it really is a matter of try out both, take a look at a few, see what best suits for you, but make sure that whenever you're making the decision, you take everything into account, the condo fees, the location. Do you have a pet? Are you 12 floors up and that's going to be a pain? However, is there a townhouse condo that has an enclosed little back area for you to let the dog out? What are those things that suit you? And also, where is it located? And what are the other amenities with the property? I have someone who just bought a wonderful condo, and it has a pool in the property, and they love that. They've been using it every day. So, that's something that really works for them that they wouldn't necessarily have received in a townhouse condo.
Awesome, Erin, and thank you for the question, and feel free to give Joan a call at 519-672-9880. That's 519-672-9880. JoanBall.com, the website address here on Ask the Experts. Our real estate expert, Joan Ball, with us here on News Talk 1290 CJBK, and we are back right after these. And welcome back to Ask the Experts on News Talk 1290 CJBK with our real estate expert, Joan Ball from Royal LePage Triland Realty. The phone number to reach her, 519-672-9880. And Joan, for new clients of yours that maybe hear us on the radio or see some of your advertisements elsewhere and they pick up the phone to call you, they're thinking about either buying or selling. Do you usually try to hook up with them and get some of their information and get a feel for their lifestyle before moving ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that people who plan and really put a plan in place and get a better sense of what their expectations are, what the realities are way ahead of the game. I think that that's an essential part of every step of this process.
Excellent. Just about a minute left here. Joan, Frank has a question. My mother has just been accepted at a seniors facility and we need to clear a ton of stuff and sell her condo. Is it recommended to remove all of the belongings and furniture prior to listing or leave as is? From Frank.
So interesting question, because it's not an either or. I think that, the research certainly shows that a furnished house sells for more money and quick in a faster period of time. So you may want to clear some of the items, but not necessarily all of the furnishings, because that would give a representation of how the property is used, what rooms, that kind of thing. So if you have a lot to sell, and there's a lot of smaller items that will be going, I usually use maxsold.com. So it's maxsold.com, and they have a fabulous process, and my clients have been extremely happy.
Excellent. And just touch on, Joan, quickly, if you don't mind, your connection, and you've even taken training and courses for helping seniors, make that transition to the next, lifestyle and change in life for them, because it's a big thing.
Absolutely. I think it's a whole different way of being from a realtor's perspective. Sometimes it's a slower process, and I think you have to be sensitive to the realities of not only the senior, but the family members that are involved. And quite often I include everybody so that they are supported, the senior is supported, and they understand the process, really can get the best advantage there, and then it reduces the stress level overall.
Excellent. Joan Ball here on News Talk 1290 CJBK, our real estate expert from Royal LePage Triland Realty. You can reach Joan at 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. Joan, great information as always. Thank you so much. I know you're busy, but I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again in 2 weeks.
You as well. Thanks, Ryan.
Excellent. Thank you. Joan Ball here on News Talk 1290 CJBK. Again, the phone number 519-672-9880, joanball.com, the website address. Stay tuned. More Ask the Experts coming up.